You're judging yourself way too early. I learned this yesterday, so I needed to share with y'all before I forget. I've been approaching a lot of people. I've been approaching people for the last year and a half, and I've approached, I think, around 150 people. There were some times I was asking girls out, sometimes I was just having valuable conversations. And when I was asking girls out, I was thinking, why am I still scared when I approach them? And I don't feel like I'm decent at even making conversation with the random people, not only asking them out. And then I started feeling sad, and I started thinking, man, maybe I'm just not good at this skill because I've approached more than 150 people and I still suck. And I started thinking, what is it? And then I heard this thing from Alex Ramosi who was saying, you need only 20 hours to become decent at it. Then I started thinking, I am going on 150 people, but let's change it into a time aspect. I started doing the math. I said, okay, if there are 150 people, I spoke to them, let's say on average 2 minutes maybe. That's 300 minutes. And that comes out to 5 hours only. So I have 15 hours left. And I was judging myself that much earlier. When I started thinking about it, I was like, Ron, you're so fucking stupid. You've not even got halfway. And I was saying, I suck. That's just something I can't do. I'm always going to be this way. But I didn't even hit halfway. Not even half. And then I started to do, okay, let's try to think other things. And I think the same thing comes with sales. Because a lot of us think of it as, okay, we're going to do these many sales calls. And once you hit the number or that many approaches, the same thing, because when you hit the 100 number or 200 number, you go, I've done 200 and I still suck. But you're not looking at the time that you took to do them. Because if I want to get good and it's, my bad, if I want to get good and it's 20 hours, right? If I do, okay, I spend 2 minutes per approach and I need to be at 20 hours, that's 600 approaches. Not 200, not 300, 600. I'm at 150. I have 450 left. And that's when it hit me, is that the people that are confident are getting those 20 hours rapidly, quickly. They're not sitting there and going, okay, I got 100, next year I'll get 100. They're getting 100 every week or every month maybe. And when you look at it from the time aspect, you realize the gap is a lot. And that's a good thing. Meaning you don't suck. You just are judging yourself way too early. A lot of us do this. We all go default in complaining. And I'm not saying that you're the only one. We all are. Even I am. I was complaining yesterday to myself. And then after I started doing this thinking, I went, oh God, I just suck as a beginner. Not because I'm terrible at it. And most of the things that people say, oh, I'm really good at, I was naturally good at it. You were not naturally good at it. You just started so early that you don't remember being terrible at it. And that is the difference. If you remembered, when you're a baby, you're bad at everything. You were even bad at walking. But some people say, oh, I'm naturally good at sports. That is not true. The only reason you're good at sports is because you don't remember when you sucked at it. The another thing that really solidified this belief for me was I read this book called No Excuses. This was my first ever book. It was by Brian Tracy. And Brian Tracy was saying what he did was when he was doing door-to-door sales, he had a timer or stopwatch. And the instant he knocked on the door and the person opened, he started a stopwatch. And then he stopped when they stopped. Either he got the sale or he got rejected. And then he went to the next house and started it to see how much time actually he's spending doing sales. And the first day, he was astonished. He was spending maybe an hour or two out of all his 8 hours, because the rest of the time was driving there, figuring out where the location is, walking in the neighborhood, all of that. And we think we're spending all the time doing actually the stuff that we need to do. When you start measuring your time, measuring how much you actually do the most valuable work, you realize you're doing less than you ever thought you were. And that is shocking for me too. But it allowed me to go, okay, that thing that I learned from Brian Tracy, I completely forgot about it. But suddenly it played in my brain right when I was doing this math with me approaching people. And I went, that is amazing. The ability to, if you track your time and then you have a goal, it could be a time goal, like 20 hours, or it could be an outcome goal, like number of approaches. You just have to make it far away, because it was like the biggest airplanes need longer runway to take off. And that means the bigger the goal you're going to have, the longer time you're going to spend on the ground where you suck at it or where you think you suck at it. And that's what's amazing, is that if you want to be amazing, and I'm seeing that right now, is the starting takes the longest. And the crazier your dream is, the bigger your dream is, it just means there's a longer runway. And I was the same way, like you, sitting there going, I don't know when it's going to stop. I've been trying, I've been consistent. But it's the amount of volume you're doing. If you focus with a lot of volume, in 1 year, you'll be more ahead than I am in 3 years. Let's say instead of doing 100 approaches a year, you're doing 600 approaches a year. Where you are in a year, I'll be there in 6 years. Not 1, not 2, 6 years. And when that hits, you go, fuck. Oh my God. Yeah, let it sink in. 6 years. That's how people move 10 times faster than you. If you were doing just 600 approaches, you were moving 6 times faster than me. That's why time is not that amazing of a show of the time of what you spend, because your input matters, not your time. Like, you could sit there and try to study, right? But if you've made 0 videos, but you're sitting there trying to make videos, and somebody sits there for half a day and does 10 videos, and you sit there for a whole day and do 0, who spent more time on it? You or them? This is why input's so valuable instead of just the time component. And I think that's why a lot of people just are faster. But for me, I've had a really long time when I do this time, when I'll do it later, a little later. But the people that are amazing, the billionaires, the millionaires, they do things radically quick. But I think one of the coolest things I saw was how quickly you see a CEO execute on his tasks. It is radically quick. It's lightning fast. It's not that, a good example, when I, let's say, email a CEO for the company I'm interning for or something, if it's a executive, if it's a, what do you call that? Executive assistant, my bad. If it's an executive assistant that's handling their social media page or their Slack channel or the Teams, there's a really late reply. But if it's a CEO, it comes that quickly, because they're the type of people that they know they're going to be busier. And if they want to answer, they'll answer right away. If they don't answer, they're not going to answer. And I think that shift, if you do something, you do it now, allows you to get much better results. My bad, I went on a tangent, but that's the thing. And I really hope this video helped, because this is something that I've been trying to wrap my brains down for 24 hours. And I finally figured out what it is. For me, it's going to be, I'm aiming for 600 approaches now. And the other thing that I didn't talk about was you got to learn from them. And that's why it's, I think, better if you do, instead of doing a lot of approaches one day, you could do them all days. But anytime you do something, take a quick 2.5 minutes, maybe 1 minute of feedback loop. Go, okay, what are you doing wrong? Okay, what do you do? For example, I approached someone today and it became awkward really quick. And the thing I realized was I was asking questions, and let's say they were replying. They were not asking me back questions. They seemed disinterested, that's fine. But a good thing I realized was I could follow up instead of asking a completely new question. For example, if I see they have a cool tattoo and they say, oh, it's from an anime or a show, you follow up on, oh, where do you get that tattoo? What show? Instead of asking a radically different question. Because what that does, it feels more interviewish if you just ask so many questions. But if you ask a follow-up on information they gave, it's a conversation, not just an interview. That's what I was thinking. But that's one thing I learned today. And it's going through that feedback loop of, okay, what could I have done better? Tried. Doesn't work. Okay, what else could I have done better? And keep going through that feedback loop. It is so, so helpful. I really hope this helped. Thank you so much for watching this video. Also watch my last 2 videos.